Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Dentist Show live. It has been a minute. It has been 3 weeks since I've seen you guys online, and I'm so grateful for all of us to be alive. Whoever's watching, make sure you share your page. Make sure you do a watch party, because tonight is a very, very important topic. But before I delve into that, I want to say a big thank you to World Remit. It's the better way to send money. And tonight they are sponsoring our show, as you already know. You can join over 5.7 million people around the globe who are sending money back home to the continent. What are you doing? Make sure that you go online to www.worldremit.com and send that money back home, and it gets there in minutes. So make sure that you go out there and do that. And I'll be sending a link as well. You can get 3 free transfers if you use my code. So I'll be sharing that with you as well. And also, don't forget Prodigy Foods. You can get your shito. It's a shito that I've been promoting for a little while now. And now she's finally in Ghana. So all of you people that have been messaging me saying, Denta, this shito, it's in America, how do we get it? Look, it's now available in Ghana. So you can call the number, which is 055 444 1033. They're in East Legon. They'll come and deliver it to you. It's only 25 Ghana cities. Trust me, you will be thanking me later, because the shito is that good. Yes, it is that good. So go out there. Let's support our young ones that are, young entrepreneurs that are trying to do something. Let's go out there and support them. And again, my lovely lip glaze is by Vesta London Beauty. Go out there and purchase one online, vestalondonbeauty.com. And also there is a platform, Ordana Connect, that I've been promoting as well for a little while. We are officially going to be launching next week. So all of you that are looking for investment opportunities in Ghana, looking for job opportunities, looking to invest in companies, this is the platform for you. So make sure that you go online, www.ordanaconnect.com, and register before we launch. And if you're a business out there that wants to put out your recruitment stuff, this is the time to register as well. If you're looking for investment in Ghana, this is the time to go online and log on and connect with us, basically. So tonight's topic is, how can we win the fight against breast cancer? And as you all know, I'm sure you all know that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I lost my cousin to breast cancer a few years ago. She lost the battle. She battled it twice. And the last one, she lost the fight. So I definitely know, what she went through. And I'm encouraging all women out there, look, guys, go and get your breast checked. And we should be checking it every day. And tonight I'm going to have the founder of Pink for Africa, Juliet. She also won the battle for breast cancer. I have Dr. Emmanuel that's going to be joining us as well. And really, it's about us, sharing those experiences. And with breast cancer, if you detect it early, you can win that fight. And so it's for us women to go out there and get our breasts checked. So this is the time. The doctor will be coming on very, very shortly. So I want to know who is watching, where you watching us from, and how you doing. It's still COVID. Can you imagine? It's still COVID. It's been a tough, but also very good for some. Just during COVID. I don't know how you have found it, but it would be good to hear from you guys. It's so good to be back on. I've lost touch, but I'm so glad that we are back on to listen to this important topic. Make sure that you are sharing your pages, you're telling your friends and your loved ones, so that you can hear people's journeys, people's experiences on breast cancer. So let me introduce Juliet Mills, a mother, a wife, a friend, director of for a group of her own companies. For her, she survived breast cancer and chemo treatments. She is a strong, tough woman. She's innovative, she's ambitious. She set up Pink for Africa, has raised over or nearly $100,000 to support other women so they can have chemo treatments, which is expensive. And so for me, she's a testimony. She is a testimony. And I want to hear her story, her journey. And we'll also hear from Dr. Emmanuel on tips that he can give women. But let's meet Juliet. Okay. Hi, Jules.
Hello, Dental. What a big shoe you put me in.
But you are. You are everything that I said, you are.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And for me, this is a sensitive topic for me as well. Like I said in the beginning, I lost my cousin in the US to breast cancer. And my other cousin, actually, she detected it early, so she was fine. So I know that it's something that it is in our family. And so, this month I have said to myself that I'm also going to get checked out. So this week, actually Tuesday, I'm going to go and have my breast examined and to make sure that, everything is okay. But I just want to hear from you, Jules. What has been your journey with breast cancer and how did you find out?
So I'm a hairstylist by trade. At the time, I was running 2 hair salons, working through the Caribbean. I was on Fashion Week. I was doing television work. I was at my peak of my career. No time for anything else, pretty much. And I was turning 40, and the routine in the US is to, when you turn 40, your insurance will give you the okay to go do your mammogram. So I talked about it in the shop, made jokes about it, and I went in and I did my mammogram, thinking it was a routine thing I was doing. About a week later, I got a letter in the mail that they needed me to come back to do more. Some tissues were not clear. So I went back, did an ultrasound. They called me back again. And this time I went to do an MRI, and it was on the left breast. And a tumor was found. And based on the look of the tumor, they knew they wanted to do a biopsy to confirm if it was really cancerous or not. Now, because the MRI had picked it up, the human hand could not do the biopsy. I had to go and lay down again in the MRI machine to have the MRI do a guided biopsy. So I went back in, the MRI did the guided biopsy. And on the 14th of April, I remember being called into the doctor's office and given the news that the sample came back and the results was positive, that it was cancerous. You don't hear anything else after cancer. I don't care who you are. I don't remember my drive home. I just remember getting home, going straight into my bed and crawling into my bed and going to sleep. My husband was away on a business trip, so I waited for him to come home and I gave him the news. And like anything else, you hear cancer and you've heard of so many people who have lost their battle to it. I had lost an aunt about 10 years prior to ovarian cancer. So I knew what that did to her. I remember going to visit her and seeing a woman full of life and full of spirit just shriveled down to nothing. So the images of that just kept coming through my mind like, wow, this is what I have to do.
Wow. And Jules, did you ever feel pain in your breast? Did you?
No, that is the deceptive part. I tell people it's like a snake. When the snake is coming, you don't hear it. All you know is it's about to grab or has already bitten into you.
Wow.
So we have to be alert. We have to be aware. We have to be advocate of our own health.
Wow.
No
And
pain.
so your husband came, you broke the news to him, and what was his reaction?
Most people who know my husband know he's a very calm human being. And he said, okay, so, I'm so sorry, but where do we go from here? And it's interesting. Both of us are people who, it's never what happens to us, it's how we're going to get through it. That's how we've rolled all of our lives and all of our marriage. So the first thing was, okay, let's see, should we get a second opinion? Should we? And then I insisted we do get a second opinion. So the first doctor wanted to do a lumpectomy and remove the lump because it was stage 1 and it was quite small. Okay. But the second doctor I went to see wanted to do a mastectomy immediately. Okay. And she was a woman. And she said to me, if you are my sister, I will advise you to remove the breast completely because you're young. The chances of the cancer coming back in a younger body is higher than lower. So I will advise you remove the breast. Now, then I've had 3 kids. If you tell me remove the breast, you're going to give me new ones. I'm negotiating this deal. Quick. So for me, for my life, my youngest at the time was 9 years old. And I knew my work wasn't done. There's no way. I had some more beating up to do of these boys and more direction to direct and more love to give and all of the things I needed to give. So I feel, one, very lucky, but I feel breast cancer was the best thing that ever happened to me. The absolute best thing that ever happened to me.
Wow, that's deep.
Totally.
So you listened to the first doctor or the second doctor?
The second doctor.
So you had your breast removed?
Absolutely, with pleasure.
Wow. And did you discuss it with your husband? Like, how did they?
When we went to see the second doctor and she explained the reasons why, it was obvious. My husband knew I was leaning towards having it removed. The reason why it didn't sit well with me with the lumpectomy, because as I read about the reoccurring of the tumors coming back, majority of women who have done the lumpectomy, depending on the type of cancer, it would often come back. And I wanted the chances of it coming back to be less, not high. And honestly, I am not attached to anything on my body. Anything in life I'm not attached to. So for me, it was an easy disconnect. It was the negotiating factor is life. And if I can be given more of that, how do I even question who thinks I should or should not? This is my body. And this is a decision ultimately I need to make. And that's what my husband said. He said, listen, this is your body. Whatever you decide, I will be beside you and I will support you. And that was it.
Wow, what a supportive husband. I mean, absolutely. And how emotional was it for you, Jules? Tell us about the emotions that you go through.
Well, for me, the first hit was, will I be here to see my children graduate from high school and, grow into men? I have an 8-year-old grandson. I've been in remission for 12. Had I died, I wouldn't have had the pleasure to meet my beautiful Apollo. Mm-hmm. So it was very profound for me to experience all the changes when it first happened and to go into a serious negotiation with God. Because that's the one place you will not be disappointed. I tell everybody, your friends are human, your husband is human, your children are human, your sisters are human. Everybody at some point will disappoint you a little bit. You will disappoint somebody. Yep. But the one place that will stand tall for you is taking it to the man upstairs. Wow. And you developing a direct relationship with him in a way that it's in your living room, your kitchen, your bedroom, wherever you are. Children are human. You honor that space in which you share with them. It's so important. It's so important. And that's the one place I went and made sure I stood no matter what. And negotiated that, listen, I'm going to use my life to do so much. And what I'm doing with Pink for Africa, I'm just buying life. That's all I'm doing.
Wow. Wow. God bless you, Jules. God bless you. And I think I'm going to bring on Dr. Emmanuel. Hold on a sec. Doc.
Hi.
I'm sure you've been listening to the conversation so far.
Totally moving. God bless you so much, Juliet.
Thank you.
God bless you so much. God bless you so much.
Courageous woman. I mean, when I introduced her, you know, I mean, the credentials, not Mikai, you know, it's on point for her, because you have to be a very strong person to just be like, you know what, take the breast away. Like you have to have that courage, you know.
Courage, yeah.
Because it's not easy. It's a part of your body since you were born. You know that you have two breasts. And you know, Doc, how important do you think breast cancer awareness is, and how is it like in Ghana? Are we taking it seriously? What are your thoughts on that?
Thank you for having me this evening. Well, the issue about breast cancer actually in Ghana is a very big deal, because just like Juliet, I've also had I've had a close relation who I lost through breast cancer, and it's a shame, but we diagnosed it. She wasn't following up on treatments. By the time we realized, it was very late, and it's a shame. And we have very similar stories all over Ghana about women who either refuse treatment because the myth is that you are going to lose your breast. But that is not totally true. It depends on the stage. Okay, so it's not totally true. And even if you are going to lose your breast to save your life, just like the courage to do that, it's strange. But most Ghanaian women and even men would prefer going to death or dying rather than losing any part of their body. And so I don't know if it's more like a cultural thing, because just like breast cancer, I've seen really elderly men with perhaps prostate cancer who cannot afford the other treatment modalities. And so we go like, okay, fine, we are going to do an orchidectomy. Orchidectomy is like removal of the testes, so that the testis doesn't produce testosterone, which feeds the cancer, and then the cancer doesn't grow again. Once you go that way, you go like, no, this guy is 80 years old. He probably doesn't even have a wife, but he will still insist that he would rather go to death with his two testicles intact. And that is the same problem that we tend to face with breast cancer. There's very little education on it, and even the elite, people who are educated that you expect will know so much about breast cancer, like what Juliet was saying. Where she was fortunate at 40, someone promised you to get a mammo done, and then I mean they pick up something. But over here in Ghana, at 40, people are totally oblivious of it. Some people don't even want to go and check because they fear that by checking they will find something, and then the whole cascade begins. So they'd rather not check and then hear anything and just be there one day and then start coughing, only to realize that she's had breast cancer and had metastasis to the lung or something. There's a lot of work to be done as far as education here in Ghana is concerned. And it's very important because really it's the leading cause of death, or the leading cancer. It's the most commonest cancer actually in women, the commonest, and it's more especially in Black women, and of course in Africans is the commonest that is affecting us. And yet very very little is being said about it. Yeah.
And somebody's asked a question: are the mammogram tests free in Ghana?
It's not free. It's not free. It's not covered by insurance. So
a lot of clinics are giving, free. On my page, I've posted about 5 different places that are offering for the month of October free.
For the month of That's fantastic.
Wait,
that's fantastic.
do it the month of October. At least you can get
Great.
free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. It will be good for us to share some of that links. I'll go on your page in a second and see
I
whether
will
if I can.
send them to you, Penta.
Okay. Okay. Great. And then we can share it on. And what age is it appropriate for you to have a mammogram? Because I was talking to a doctor a few days ago because I want to go and have a test done, and she said because I'm 37, they don't recommend it until you're at least 40. Is that true? Why is that?
Well, the breast undergoes a lot of changes, and the mammogram is looking for particular tissue, okay? And it's assumed that by 40 years, then most of the younger breast tissue is replaced by what is better visualized with a mammogram. That notwithstanding, at 37, if you have any breast changes, for which reason you want to get a mammogram done, definitely we'll do the mammogram for you. But the cutoff is 40. 40, the mammogram is better at picking up any lesions in there. Earlier than that, maybe an ultrasound will help you. Or really, all you need is this. Earlier than 40, yeah. Your 5 fingers, your hand to check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you actually check your breast? What is the right? I know what is the right way to check your breast? How is it supposed to be done?
Okay. Okay. I'll try and then demonstrate if you can see my boobs. All right. So really, you need your 3 middle fingers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Flat, flat, great. Aha. And then you are going to need your chest wall, the chest wall itself, not the breast. The breast is against the wall, right?
Yes.
Aha. Good. So you need that wall to be tense. So you can put your hand at the back of your head. So that
Okay.
stretches it somehow. Okay. And then great,
Mhm.
great, you got it right. Now you go around the breasts, okay, and then you are palpating in circular motions. Okay, so circular motion, trying not to miss anything. Then you move to another section, circular motion, okay, another section, down, okay, you come to the inner part, and then you go to the nipple area, okay, and then you press firmly, and then in a circular motion like that. Okay.
Okay.
And then the last place that most people forget to go is the underarm area, the armpit area. You need to go there and then check for any swellings over there. Okay. But I mean, prior to doing all this touching and all that, it's recommended that you stand in a mirror, undress,
Okay.
stand in a mirror, and then you are checking for things like the symmetry of the breast. I mean, naturally, one breast is usually bigger than the other,
Bigger than the other.
and
Yeah.
you would know that you would have already known that from, I mean, several years ago that okay, this breast is usually bigger than this. Right from your teenage years, you would know that. But if you realize any changes that are new to you, like any change in size, which is very new, that's something that you should alert your doctor about. If you notice any skin changes, so any discoloration on the skin, any unusual rash on the skin, you should definitely get a second opinion on what is happening over there. Then, of course, the lumps come in. If you realize any lump in any part of your breast, you should definitely alert. And then the
Sorry,
last
the
thing.
skin? Sorry, so just
Mhm.
dwell on the skin. What's mention it again? The skin.
Okay, so any skin changes, so any discoloration, anything that appears like a rash, any reddening or darkening, or just any skin change really, you should get a doctor to review it and see if it's something benign or something that we should be worried about. Very typical of breast cancer is what we call peau d'orange. It's called the peau d'orange. It appears like an orange peel, orange skin appearance. You see, it has that punctate appearance when you take an orange. Seen that?
Yes. Yes.
Aha. Yes. So anytime you see that particular lesion or that particular appearance on your breast, that is a sign that something is really going on in there. Okay, and you should get it checked. Finally, you come to the nipple area. You try and then express. I mean, with the index finger and with your thumb, try and then express something like this. press the nipple and see if you'll be able to get any discharge, any blood, anything like that. If you see anything like that, that's something that you should definitely be worried about. And also about the nipple. If you notice that previously your nipple was inverted, that means it's pointing outward, which I mean about 80% of women have that. Others have just flat. But if maybe it was flat or everted, pointing outward, and then now you realize that it's now pointing inward, or it's like it's being retracted. Something is pulled your nipple inward now. You should definitely alert your doctors and then get checked. And that is regardless the age. That is regardless your age. You don't need to wait till you're 40 to alert your doctor about something like that you've seen. But we tend to see more of these things in women who are above the age of 40. But really, in any woman of reproductive age, about 15 years going, they should be worried about any changes that they see in their breast. And of course, that would mean that you should be familiar with your breasts. Hence the noise that we are making. You should be familiar with your breast so that if there's a change, you'll pick it up. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So, once you find out, are there different types of breast cancer? Are there?
Yes, yeah, there are different types of breast cancer. But of course, just to make it easier, breast cancer is breast cancer. Usually, the important thing is the stage at which the breast cancer is. Okay, because that is what is going to determine the treatment modality, the path that we are going to take. Okay, so if it's a say stage 0, that means that the cancer is very well contained and there's no evidence of any spread or anything like that, then perhaps the option would be just to go and take out that lesion over there, or that swelling, or that lump, or that tissue. Just take it out, and then take it out alongside some very healthy margins so that you are sure you are not leaving anything behind. But then as it progresses, then we tend to think of things like removing the whole breast because you are not sure how far the cancer has gone. And then sometimes even after removing the whole breast, we think of things like adding chemotherapy to it, which is typical. We add chemotherapy to it so that if the cancer has gone anywhere else, after you have removed what you can see, you also do the chemo. There's radiation therapy, which is also done just to clear any other cells that may be present. Unfortunately, over here in Ghana, we tend to see most of our patients rather late, because most women, and educated women, that tells me that there's a lot more to be done. Educated women will come in, and they will come in with a cancer, with a swelling already ulcerated, and you know that this thing is all over her body. It's not just in the breast by this time. I mean, once it breaks out into an ulcer and all that, you can be sure that it's gone elsewhere. And those are the kind of cases that we tend to see. And so treatment becomes difficult because you might be tempted to go and remove the whole breast, but then it's already spread. And so you don't get the results that you would have wished for if you had seen them, say, a month or two earlier, when the thing was well contained. So you don't really get the results. Then they go out and the news is that, oh, once you get breast cancer, you are going to die, because we are not getting the stories of people who are actually surviving because we are seeing them rather late. And that is the true story that we are facing in Ghana.
So what stages are they coming at? What's the last stage? Is it stage 4? What's the last stage? So they're coming in at stage 4.
Yeah, most of them come in at stage 4. They would have seen spiritual healers. They would have gone to some pastors. They would have been sleeping in some prayer camp or something like that. Then eventually they decide to come in because the pastor says that, oh, we didn't know who we are on Fambra. And the pastors, our spiritual leaders, they have a huge role. People listen to them even more than the doctors in Ghana. And so I am always advocating that, we need to liaise with them. We need to work with them because usually they are the primary healthcare providers in Ghana. They are the first to see the patients. The patients will be with them for months, fasting, praying, doing all sorts of things. Then when there's no end, they declare to them that, this is not a spiritual issue. go to the doctor, and they have no choice. The patient moves to the doctor the following day and will do anything that the doctor says. Sadly, that is the story in Ghana.
You would think, say, like in 2020, like things would have changed, the amount of like online, but Jules, what are you going through as Pink for Africa and the women that you're supporting? Are you finding that, you know, educating them is also very difficult?
Yeah. When I lost my aunt, it revolutionized the way I see breast
Sorry,
cancer.
let me go to Jules quickly and then come back to you.
Sure.
You know, Doc, you hit so many things on the nail that
Mm,
speaking to you, I've had the opportunity to speak to doctors in America. And,
mhm,
you know, it's wonderful because our system here, we have 90% survival rate. There is so much
mhm,
awareness. There is so much, even stage 4. I have clients who survive stage 4. So to hear you coming from Ghana and talking on this issue is so vital to what I do,
mhm,
because 80% of the women who are diagnosed, you have to remember, their tumor started at stage 1 or
mhm.
before stage 1. But like
Yeah.
Doc said, I go in and I'm telling you about survival. I'm telling you about checking your breast. I'm telling you about all these things. If I don't insert God in that conversation, they don't listen to me. I'm
Mm,
checked out.
Wow.
So I need to involve God in it because I don't
mhm,
have a choice. That way they would give
mhm,
me a bit of an ear. But I
mhm,
also need to literally beat it in them that
mhm,
this is not because you did something wrong or somebody is doing this to you.
mhm,
This is because God created the doctor and gave
mhm.
him the knowledge he's using, and you
True.
need to trust that also. So,
Sure.
along with you going to the doctor, yes, let your pastor pray for you. But I
Mhm,
always say to them, find out from your pastor the last time he was sick, how
mm,
he stayed home and let
mm,
you pray for him. He
mhm.
ran to the doctor. Some of them
Sure.
left the country to go to another doctor.
Mhm,
So please, you
mm,
need to be alive for the family you pour into. Even for
mm,
a woman who doesn't have children, pours into her sister's children, her brother's children.
mhm,
Your network as a woman is so big. Your
mhm.
impact is so big. You
Yeah.
need to be your own advocate. And
Mm,
that self-examination and that going to the doctor is what saved my life. People die in
mm,
America too with breast cancer. If you
mm,
sit home and do nothing about it, you will die.
mm,
So be your own advocate. Get up
true,
and go see your doctor. If you
true.
need support, there are organizations like mine that will support you. But if you don't go to the doctor, I'm not going to give you money while you sit at home. No,
Mm,
I'm going to do it through connecting with the hospital so
sure.
that we can properly do the checks and balances of donation
Mm,
that is going to the right source. But you
mhm,
have to go to the doctor and you have to listen. Prayer is good. I can't tell you enough of it. But
mm,
Jesus is going to use your doctor to help you. Jesus is going to
yeah.
use your nurse to help you. Jesus is not going to come down himself to help you.
Spot on.
Doc,
Spot
Denta,
on.
I'm so
Spot on.
passionate about this situation. It's not even fun.
Spot
yeah,
on.
no,
This is
People who
totally
die.
spot on. Mm.
yeah, no, Doc,
Juliet,
go on.
Juliet,
You about to say something?
yeah, Juliet hit the nail right on the head about the issue about spirituality, seeing your pastors, and then I mean coming to see the doctors very late, because that is really the reality on the ground. And um, in Ghana here, it's worse. It's
Yeah.
worse because everything has a reason. There's no smoke without fire. Obi na eya o, obi na eya no.
Mm,
Nichi
mm,
nibi na eya no. It's always like that. It's always a story. And so, unfortunately, we are doing a lot of work online, but I think about the people in the community very close to where I work. I work at Ankafo Leprosarium, and I think of the community close by. All they have is maybe a community communication center or something like that. And in the morning, all you hear are on their broadcasting thing. All you hear is about some herbal medication, which probably doesn't even have an approval or anything like that. And very little is actually being done about education. And so it's fantastic that we're doing this online. But I'm looking forward to the time when organizations like Pink for Africa can partner with us, get on the ground and actually get to the grassroots people, because these are the people, they don't get this information. They probably don't have phones, they are probably never online. All they hear is what they get on the radio, and if somebody's selling some products to them that promises to heal breast cancer and all that. I was about to share a story about when I lost my own aunt. um, she was diagnosed of breast cancer. I told her, I spoke with her and all that, but some way, somehow, I was out of the region and so lost track of her. Only for my cousin one day to call, be like, he actually called my dad and was like, "Daddy, Mansa Nazan, Sisia, why is serious? So, on Dakra, Ubuswana Dachi." Then we go in and this thing is already ulcerated. And the news that I was getting was she was going to hospital. I mean, everything was moving on fine. Not knowing she was not going. She had been praying with some people and all that. So I mean, I have had a personal first-hand experience. By the time we got to the hospital, I took her to the hospital, did the scan and all that. There were metastases all over to the liver, to the lungs. It was just a matter of weeks. It was just a matter of weeks. Even though we started aggressive chemotherapy and all that for her, but it was a little too late. We need to get down to the grassroots level. Very, very much noise is being done. Thank God for Pink October. We started a couple of years back. Now a lot of noise is being made about breast cancer. But I dare say that it's not getting to the grassroots. It's not getting to the
You know,
grassroots people.
Doc, is so
Mhm.
amazing you say that. Fortunately for me, when I'm in Ghana, because I live in the States, I come in March and in
Mhm.
October. And for
Okay,
every month when I'm there in October, last year we did the Anglogan route, and I was in
great,
village after village after village after village. We've done the Eastern
great,
region, we've done the
great.
West. We cannot do it all because we are a small organization
Mhm.
and we make
Mhm.
very little money in terms of donations.
Mhm.
So when I
Mhm.
come, I work with what I have, I push hard.
Yeah.
I did the Western region. I didn't even scratch the surface of the Western region.
Wow.
But time was up. We had to turn around and come
Mm.
back. We
Mm.
need, we need a system that one takes accountability for these pastors who are killing literally our people. We need a system that polices you to make sure when you advise somebody as a pastor with your influence on a patient who is sick, that you will be put in jail because that
Mhm.
is murder,
Mhm.
straight and clear. We need to really advocate. We need support with the government behind us. This is women's disease, but this affects a lot of men as well. More
Yeah.
women than men, granted. But
Sure.
look at the role women play in our community as
Mhm.
Africa in general. Ghana, especially, is one of the number one countries for women entrepreneurs in the
Mhm.
world.
Yep.
It goes to show you the kind of commitment women have in Ghana to support the system.
Mhm.
So we cannot sleep on this. I will not sleep
Mhm.
on this. And we need to really show the importance of the role. And really, the advocacy has to be big into the
Yeah.
grassroots because
Sure.
the areas
Sure.
like the little villages in Anglonga and Sogakope and all these little areas I went last
Mhm.
October, nobody had come.
Mhm.
Accra is saturated, yes. But when you
Yeah.
start going away, there's nobody there. I had
Mhm.
to convince Keta Hospital to give free screening while I was there, so that
Wow.
as I went through the churches talking about the
Mhm.
importance of self-examination, I can direct women
People
to
to
the
the
hospital.
hospital. Yeah.
But this is something straight out of Kolebu. Kolebu should connect with every government hospital in
Mhm.
every region, and every month
Mhm.
of October, there should be free screening.
Sure.
It should be a done
Sure.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even it can be a government policy that in October every
Yeah.
woman should actually get a breast screening, and that can easily be done. That can easily be done. All we need is a little more advocacy.
The right people in channel, we can all come together, Denta. We can all come together and find a way to begin to change some of the laws and some of the regulations on trying to get better support for breast cancer.
True.
Absolutely.
True.
And how is the support like for you? I mean, Chrissy, who's backstage, she's our project manager for Goober Enterprise, and she lost her mum to breast cancer, I think 11 years ago now, because it was at the time when we first started Goober. And she's just started this, she does this GoFundMe every year to try and help other women, to get them chemo stuff, little stuff that they can have whilst they're in hospital, which I'm just going to put the link out there for people to donate. But how difficult or easy is it for people to donate to Pink for Africa? Because sometimes I find that, even when we try and do GoFundMe for different things, we did one for incubator, we did one for different autism, it's very hard for our people to donate. So how are you able to get donations to support this cause?
So let me say this to you. We come from a culture that we are so family oriented, that we do so much within our families already. Remember that. So by the time you go to somebody to ask for donation, they have a cousin, a nephew, an aunt, an uncle who they are already supporting. So that becomes, unfortunately, in the Western world, people don't have that kind of leaning of family on each other. So on a typical white family, they can afford to give you $1,000 and it's not a problem. But in our communities, it doesn't always work that way. But I know one thing, little drops of water creates a mighty ocean. So every little bit counts into the pot. I often say, if let's say there is 2 million people in Ghana and everybody gave 1 CD, we will have 2 million CDs. And that's how I look at it. So for Pink for Africa, in the past, we've done different events to raise money. Because I'm a hairstylist, I have a network of women I've pulled from tea parties to galas to all of that. But for example, when we go to raise money, I have to be savvy. I'm also a businesswoman. I'm half Lebanese. It's in my blood to try and pull money out of anybody. So I try to platform where we auction African art, we auction different things, Broadway tickets, we do all kinds of different things to raise money. This year, for example, going into with COVID happening and our 10-year anniversary, I was struggling to figure out how we're going to do this. And a very good friend of mine came to me with designing a candle, and we came together collaborating with Sula NYC and designed this little candle where people can donate and get the candle back. And when you light the flame, you light it in honor of the people we have lost, the people who are going through the journey, and the people who have survived. I cannot tell you how this candle is moving off my shelf. I am so blown away.
Wow.
That people, this is it. This is the candle. This is my logo. And it's a special scent made just for Pink for Africa.
Wow.
So it says on it, for the angels, for the survivors, and for the fighters.
Wow.
It is a scent designed just for us. It was made in Europe. And my point I'm saying is that people oftentimes like to get something back for something. So here is a way for you to donate and be able to also change a life.
Yeah.
Now, for every dollar you donate, 4 people are educated. So I've narrowed it down to understanding that your donation goes to do certain things. Some of it goes to prosthetics, where we help women look and feel a little bit better. I know through my own journey, the first 3 years of my journey, I didn't even look at myself in the mirror. And I was able to get implants. So can you imagine the average woman in Ghana who is not able to get implants, how she is going to look at herself in the mirror? I cannot even tell you. So for me to bring a little comfort and to give them a prosthetic in their breast, to feel a little even and feel like it is breast, is everything to them. So little things like this is how we have supported. I have a support group that I personally spearhead. and we reach out to each other. I have assistants in Ghana who will go and visit women at home, go to chemo treatments with them that we have paid for, that we want to connect on a really good way to say, we got you. There is, I do nutritional talk. I have lost 100 pounds since cancer. And I think it's because I've also gone inwardly and said, I want to take better care of myself. So how do I eat right? What are the vegetables, the grains, all of the things I need to do to also create a better immune system, so that, God forbid, anything hits me is not going to take over as easily as it does. So these are the things that Pink for Africa has done in the past to continue to do. Going forward, though, I tell you, Denta, we want a home. Pink for Africa needs a home in Accra and Kumasi. There are so many people who come from the outskirts, the villages to Kolebu and Accra, and have nowhere to sleep. And they will sleep on the floors of the hospital for chemo. I tell you, you don't know how heavy my heart feels when I walk away from these hospitals. They need a clean bed just to sleep and go through chemo. A little food to eat and wake up the next day like they're human beings. We have to treat people like they are human beings. And we fall short every day. So we need help.
Wow.
We need help.
Oh, God. I'm just going to right now put some of the locations for you to have your screening, which Jules has kindly sent to me. Let me just take this off. So this one is Rabito Clinic in East Legon branch. So they're doing a breast screening there. The time is 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and the number is there. And there is another. This one is Family Health Hospital. It's every Saturday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So you can go there as well. Let's see this one. This one is free breast screening at the Trust Clinic Dome near Ghana Telecom, Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And there's another one. Which hospital is this?
There's UCC campus, University of Cape Coast.
Okay. And it's in front of Sam Jonah Library.
Yeah.
They do 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Guys, this is free.
And that's from next week.
So we need you all. Yeah, it's from the 26th to the 30th. So please, guys, look, prevention is better than cure, as they say. So this is your prevention to go out there and get tested and get screened. I'm going to be doing exactly that next week, because I feel like, especially because I know that it's my family members have had it, I'm kind of paranoid about it. And so I'm going to be getting that done. Doc, you have a question on the screen.
Okay. Is it advisable to get implants after mastectomy? Yes, if you can afford it. There's no contraindication to have an implant after a mastectomy. Totally. And I think Juliet can speak to that.
I think that it is a personal preference. There's a young lady I posted recently,
exactly,
who was in her 30s who opted to not getting it. And she bore her chest completely open. Beautiful young girl. And has an advocacy as well on the importance of just loving wherever you are. When you have life, you embrace it. For me, I wanted to because I felt I was young. I felt it. I needed to have it to look better in my clothes. So I opted for implants. But it's a journey with implants as well. 10 years after I had it, I need to go and have it replaced. A year and a half into that, they called me that the implants have been recalled. So I needed to go back and do another surgery. So it is always a journey in terms of you doing, it's an external thing you're putting in your body There are risk factors you need to educate yourself on, and there are, you know, attention that you need to give to it as well with your checkups and all of that. So it is definitely a personal preference. If you can afford to, by all means. But if you choose not to, it is okay too.
Yeah.
It really is. It is okay too.
And Doc, is it something we're eating as well? Is it our diet? Like, why are so many women getting breast cancer? What is it?
It's the cause currently. It's a lot of things. A lot of research is still ongoing, and there are a lot of proposals. There are papers that are suggesting that the things that we are consuming, a lot of the refined foods that we are consuming, might contain possible carcinogens. Again, you realize that more where we are doing more of contraceptives, which are external estrogens that we are introducing into our bodies. And you know that, okay, well, let me mention that prolonged exposure to estrogen really is a risk factor. That one is established in research. And so when we are doing these hormone replacement therapies, we're doing contraceptives and other things that just keep exposing us to estrogens, that also increases the risk. But it's still a blurry place. Just a few things have actually been confirmed as risk factors. Things like positive family history, things like your age, things like the female sex, and then among others. But not so much about diets. But of course, there are a lot of papers going around and lots of research that seem to suggest that diet has a role to play. Of course, diet will have a role to play in your general well-being, you know, and then
Yeah.
your immunomodulation, but not so much about being a causative agent or being the cause of breast cancer. It seems to have a genetic predilection, and that means that if your family member has it, more especially if it's a first generation relative, if has any form of cancer, really, not just breast cancer, but any form of cancer, that sort of predisposes you to developing breast cancer and, of course, any other cancer as well. That is well established. And that is where we tend to lean more towards that the genetic predisposition more than things like diet. Yeah.
And are you seeing more younger women having breast cancer? Is it getting younger? Because, you know, usually when we first heard about breast cancer, it was like our mother's age, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s kind of. But now are you seeing more younger women coming in with breast cancer?
It's amazing. Just like breast cancer, actually, it looks like a thing that is cutting across all the chronic diseases and then all the other cancers. Really, the ages seem to be getting younger and younger. We're tending to seeing more younger people. So breast cancer, yes, we are seeing younger women with breast cancer, and of course, that demystifies that whole myth that young people cannot get breast cancer. We are seeing younger people, 30-year-olds, even 20-something-year-olds getting breast cancer, and it's strange. Same thing with the other chronic conditions, hypertension. You are getting more younger people getting hypertension, and then other conditions like that. So it's like a general thing that is going on. You're getting younger people, younger males getting prostate cancer, younger people. So there's now it really makes us question: is it really a disease of the older people, or is it something that started when they were younger, but we were missing it until they were really really old, and then their immune system starts to go down, and then all these things tend to show up after age 40, perhaps. So these are some of the things that we are battling with because now with more awareness and with or that previously.
Okay, it's cutting out a bit, but I don't know whether you can still hear me, Doc. I think you have frozen.
Yes.
Okay, I've got you back. You can hear me. Okay, fantastic. How expensive is it as well? And let's balance the. Oh, hello, Doc. Oh, I think I've lost him.
Yeah.
But Jules, I mean, you've been through it, so
Yeah.
you would know how expensive
Now,
is it?
For Ghana, it is partly subsidized for the less fortunate, but the medication that the government subsidizes is not very effective. So fortunately, for some of the cancers that are showing up, the tumors that are showing up, requires a drug or type of drug that the health system does not support. So these women are to pretty much fend for themselves. And little things like blood work and things like that may be supported, but the core of the medication itself is not supported. And oftentimes the hospital will give the patient what the government requires, which sometimes is not doing anything for the patient.
Wow.
Yes. So the type of, it boils down to money. And unfortunately, cancer is a very expensive disease when you let it past stage 1. So as it gets to the higher stages, it's even more expensive. So as a person who is going through, or you find a little lump that may or may not be cancerous, you are actually saving money if you quickly run to the doctor and have it checked. And if it needs to be removed, it's removed. Majority of the time, the women in Ghana that I've noticed, the hospitals would do a mastectomy at stage 1, not because the person needs a mastectomy, but because it will save their lives. Because if they do a lumpectomy and the person leaves, the tracking system to get them back in again is
difficult.
Is none. So when they recommend removing your breast, is because they truly want to save your life. And they do so because sometimes they cannot even afford chemo. So when that breast is removed, then if you're not able to afford chemo, your chances of surviving is higher than if you did a lumpectomy and you mandatory have to have chemo. Yeah. So these are some logistics behind the scene that sometimes the average person does not understand and quite embrace, because they're told, you cut your breast, you're going to die. No, you're
going to survive.
The chances of you surviving is higher because the training system we have in Ghana to follow up. Here, if in America where I am, if you do a lumpectomy, listen, every doctor, all they have to do is go on the computer and your file will come up.
There. Yeah.
We don't have that system back home. So it's important for us to understand that certain I don't know a single doctor who doesn't want to check on his list, I saved a life.
Yeah.
Most doctors chose this path because that's what they want to do. Yeah. So, we should trust and build better relationships with our doctors and know that they have our best interest at heart majority of the time. And if you feel they don't, you change doctors.
Yeah. Yeah. And what, I mean, you did chemo.
I did chemo.
And how was chemo in itself?
Chemo was rough.
Wow.
Chemo was rough because I think it's poison. They're giving you poison to kill everything in your body. I remember my nails going jet black. I remember sores all in my mouth. I couldn't eat. I remember feeling like the flu times 10, literally. It is a tough place and tough journey to go through. But this is the deal. This too shall pass. And one thing I can guarantee you, after all of this is over, you will look in the mirror and know you are the baddest soldier that ever walked on earth. Because you made it and you're alive. You're alive. To be in your family's lives, to be in your children's lives, you are alive. And non-negotiable.
Absolutely. Doc, can you hear me now?
Yes. I think I'm having a little trouble with the internet, but we'll be fine.
That's fine. I was just saying, how expensive is it to have chemo in Ghana?
Okay.
What cost?
You mean figures?
Yes, please.
Okay. That would of course depend on the number of cycles and then the regimen that we are doing, of course. But On the average, I'm taking a look at a document from 2013 that says that the annual cost per patient was about 2,000 CDs. That's 2013. I was 7 years ago. Okay, and this was a study, so that will cut across on average about 2,000 CDs, and then indirect costs, meaning that the other things that will come to add up when you put all that together, that will be about 3,937 Ghana cedis. So 7 years down the line, you expect that this should be probably double the amount per person, and that's a huge burden for the average Ghanaian. If you're supposed to pay about 3,000 cedis or even 4,000 cedis for the treatment, that's it. Like Juliet said, it's subsidized. It's subsidized in Ghana for most places, but it's still a huge burden for the average Ghanaian.
Okay.
So then tough for me, for example, from beginning to end, cost me a little bit over $300,000.
What?
Yes. So by the time you do your guided MRI, that alone was $45,000.
Wow.
So when you talk about what you get here versus if you don't have private insurance, which luckily I did, but that kind of support, and if you think of what we expect Ghana to have the same kind of care, you know, it's not a cheap thing to be able to go through. So education and early detection is paramount in Africa, across Africa. We cannot afford this disease. Cancer has no business in Africa.
Wow.
We can't afford it. And it will take us down if we don't do something about it.
Wow. See, that puts it into perspective.
Yes.
Either you want to bill, you want to lose your life, or you want to prevent it. Like, just go and have a test, you know, get your examined, because listen, who has $300,000 sitting in their account right now? Nobody, you know? And so this is a time that you really, and it's free now. It's free. I've listed some of the places that are doing it for free, guys. This is the time that you need to go. Just go and get it done. You know, I know it's scary. Even me, I'm talking about it freely, and I'm scared because I'm just like, oh my God, I've been panicking the whole week.
Don't be scared.
But you know, I'm gonna go and do it. But it's, you know, I feel like, look, like you said, Jules, us women, we have so many roles that we play in the family, in the whole family tree kind of thing. And so we really need to take care of ourselves. We need to examine ourselves. We need to make sure that we are okay, because we are usually the last on the list. We usually don't think about ourselves because we're busy thinking about our children or our husband or whatever. And so we don't really take care of ourselves in the first place. So can you talk a bit on that, Jules, how important it is actually just take care of yourself as a woman?
It is vital. It's vital to everything. Yalla, get out of here. It is vital to everything in the sense that in the last 12 years, when I see what I've been able to accomplish alone with my family and what I've been able to pour into Pink for Africa in the last 10 years, I cannot imagine my life not being here. So looking at that alone, that's why I said to you, I think it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because it opened me up to be able to really understand the importance of my role and how I'm going to impact everybody else around me. So with this movement of women and showing up and us standing forward, your advocacy to your own health is vital. And you're right, Denta, we do for everybody and put ourselves last. It's the nature of women. But you know, one of the things we need to tell each other when we come together is really call each other out on, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done that? And make sure that we follow suit to holding us accountable for each other, to really play that role of self-advocacy is so important. I can only do what I can do because I'm well and I'm alive. Period. I have to be healthy in order to do it.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Guys, I'm going to be taking questions. If there's any questions, this is the time that Jules and Doc can answer them. So we can go through that before we end the conversation. But it's a very, very important conversation to have, guys. I am pleading with all of you. Even if it's the men that are watching, encourage your wife, your girlfriend, your sister to go out there and have
Yeah.
the examination.
Yeah.
Sorry, today I've got a double presenter. My son,
Motherhood.
He wants to be on the show too.
oh my goodness, he just like, okay, so what is this? PFA subsidizes the treatment if for a few in October. Jules, okay, we can't help. Yep, 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 yep. I think all women in Ghana should top breast awareness. Oh my god. Because things like
I did the no bra day. I took my bra off on camera that day. So you know,
wow.
I didn't show my breast though. I just took the bra off.
Well, you know, that was about a week ago, right?
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah.
But it was really to show, you know, that we are not defined by our breast. And if you have to have them removed, remember, you can have the option of having reconstructive surgery, or you can go without. Listen, we need to push through. Lord knows, as women, we push through so many things.
So many things.
That when it comes to our health, we play with it. No, we can't do that.
You're absolutely right. Somebody's asked where the places are again. Okay, so I'm going to put it up on screen again. There's one Family Health Hospital every Saturday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. There is the Rabito Clinic in collaboration with Dorothy Hope Foundation. They're doing breast cancer screening, and it's free, and it's at East Legon. It's the East Legon branch, 17th of October, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the number is there as well. And this one is Trust Clinic Dome near Ghana Telecom, Monday to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the last one is happening from the 26th to the 30th. Again, the details are there. Make sure that you go and get screened. So, Doc, what are your last words to say to people that are watching right now, to the women, to the men? What are your advice to them?
Okay. Before I come in with that, let me add that aside the 5 places that we've mentioned right now, in Ghana here currently, it's okay for you, and let me make this clear, it's okay for you to walk into any public health institution or even a private health institution and demand for a breast screening. You don't need a special month, you don't need a special occasion set aside. We don't currently have the system where we will call you in to come and get your breast checked. Hopefully, we'll get there very soon. But now, even if you are not close to any of these places that were advertised currently, you can walk into any facility at all and demand for a breast screening. It's totally okay, and your doctor is obliged to screen, to examine your breast, to request for any investigation if he thinks it's needed. But you can walk in for that purpose, and that's something that we really don't do here. Most people don't like the hospital, but for prevention's sake, and that would of course bring me into my closing remarks. What I always say is, prevention is not only better than cure. Prevention is actually cheaper than cure. Prevention is cheaper than cure, and that will be my final remark. So let it just not be a talk. Let it just not be a no bra day. I mean, I saw a lot of things going on Twitter, and some people also took advantage to, do their own thing. But that's okay. That's okay. If you're taking advantage of it to do your own thing and still insisting that, you know what, I'm not just doing this for the fun of it, but I'm doing this so that you remember anytime you see this picture, you remember to get your breast check, then fantastic. But if it ends at just, no bra day, pink October, and then it ends at that, nothing is being done. I also want to encourage every young person, especially, especially people who are educated. Let me say this, and I'm saying this because of reason. What I tell young people who come to my consulting room is this: you were sent to school for a purpose. You were sent to school so that your health seeking behavior will not be the same as your grandmother who did not go to school. You were sent to school so that you will understand how your body works. You were taught the human body in your basic science in primary school, so that if something is going on wrong, you will know, and you would run faster than your grandmother would. But unfortunately, people still take their health for granted and all that. I want to encourage all the young people out there. Currently in Nigeria, there's a lot of NSAS, NSAS. Nigeria, we stand with you. If any Nigerian is watching, we stand with you, totally behind this whole thing. And this whole thing was started by young people, young people. And look at how massive the impact has been. I believe that in Ghana, if young people can come together in our universities, in our secondary schools, and then go like, hey, have you checked your breast? Get your breast checked. The guys are getting all their girlfriends to get their breast checked, getting their wives, getting their mothers, their aunties to. If everyone is involved, and especially the young people, we make a lot of noise, and we have the access to the information on Instagram, on Twitter. The information is everywhere, and the young people have the most access to it. It shouldn't just end there. Be an advocate wherever you are. Be an advocate wherever you are. If you have a girlfriend, get your girlfriend to check the breasts. Your mom, your auntie, just insist. Be on them. If you have to drag them to the hospital, definitely do that. And don't forget, prevention is cheaper than cure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. And I know that you're coming on the Goober Foundation next week, Thursday,
Sure.
again, to talk about breast cancer with Salom, who's our nurse in the UK, who's a breast cancer nurse.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that
Sure.
one next week as well.
Sure.
So, Jules, what are your last words to people that are watching as well?
Doc has covered so much for me. I tell you, it's been amazing. I just want to say, let us be kind to each other. As women, let us create a wonderful support system for each other and be there for each other. You don't know when the ball is going to be thrown into your court, and you will need that help. So let us be kind to each other. And by all means, please support by going to pinkforafrica.org and support either through a candle or donate. And your money will be going to some very, very good causes, believe me.
Absolutely.
That's pretty much it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for your humility. Thank you for your support. And thank you for your education and just educating all of us on your story and what you've been through. God bless you. God protect you. And God, may He use you as the testimony that you are to really push through what you want to do in Ghana. I hope, the hospital or the whatever you want to set up, it will come to pass. Somebody will watch this and be like, I want to invest in this. I pray that this will happen for you. And this will benefit a lot of women who, like you said, don't have the opportunity even go to the hospital and have a chemo or a bed to sleep on. And so what your vision that you have will come to pass in Jesus' name. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Thank you, Doc. I really appreciate you. You are amazing, always amazing. People have said, oh my God, incredible doctor. But he's our special doctor. He's our special. We claim him. He's a Goober doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Doc, thank you so much.
Who's watching Thursday, join us. We'll be a bit more technical, a bit more practical, about the breast examination and then all that. Yeah, that'll be Thursday. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Doc. Guys, I hope that you've enjoyed the show. I've got my presenter now who's just come back behind me. But thank you all for watching the show. I hope that it has inspired you. It has encouraged you and show you the importance of getting your breast checked, especially during this month. We should be doing this anyway, but obviously October reminds us that, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month and we must go and get checked out. If you're a young person, if you've got a sister, cousin, come on, we all know a woman somewhere. Let's encourage them to go and get their breast checked. Again, I want to say a big thank you to World Dream It for sponsoring the show. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. To anybody watching, please go to pinkforafrica.org and let's all donate. Thank you all for watching. Like I said, if you have missed the show and you're just catching the end, Dr. Emmanuel will be on the Goober Foundation Instagram this coming Thursday from 7 p.m. So guys, thank you all so much. God bless.